This is Ric Flair, jet-flying, limousine-riding son of a gun. Woo! And you're listening to the TheRantCastPodCast. Woo!
Rantcast! Alright, we are back on the Rantcast. It is Tuesday night, May 13th, 2025, and you're listening to the Rantcast podcast. Unfortunately, I'm not here with my co-host. The TheStrangeBus sends his regrets. He can't be here tonight, but I am here, and, I got up thinking, I'm just not in the mood for this. But then this voice popped into my head and said, "Not in the mood? Mood's a thing for cattle and love play, not fighting or ranting. Now guard yourself for true." So here I am. Yep. So tonight, this is episode 73 of the Rantcast podcast. We are streaming live on twitch.tv/therantcastpodcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's not live, it's a replay. And if you're just listening on Spotify, well, thank you for supporting us on Spotify, the Rantcast podcast. So tonight we may have a little bit of a shorter show. We'll just see how things go. We've definitely got some topics, and it says there's a problem with my frame rate. Not quite sure what that's all about. Let me see if I can fix it. Okay. Everybody hearing me okay? Hey, Joe. Hey, Wardicon. Rantcast. All right. So immediately we've got some topics and some stuff that I really didn't want to cover. Looks okay to me, he says. Okay, good. It might just be Discord. Sometimes Discord and Twitch don't play well together. But yeah, once again, thanks to TheStrangeBus for our music, Suno.com, AI-assisted creations there. But he did write the lyrics, and he did a great job, and I love it. We're experimenting with some other things, too. Again, AI-generated, not trying to step on anybody's toes copyright-wise, and that's why we're doing that. All right, let's douse the flames for a second here, and we'll get into our topics for tonight. So yeah, if you want to join us, you can actually hop into Quest Talk on the HeroQuest fans Discord. I mean, I'm not expecting a huge roundtable panel discussion, but if somebody drops in, we'll at least chat a little bit. All right. So our very first topic, this is the one that I didn't want to get into because, as you know, we don't like to get into politics. We're not trying to start any fights with anybody. Listen, everybody's got their beliefs. We just live and let live. That's our attitude. But we are having to comment on certain things that are affecting the game community, the stuff that we're looking at. Hey, Bohemius. Welcome to the Rantcast. Yep. So we're just going to be looking at, I'm just going to grab an article off the web here. Again, whenever we use these sources, we're not saying, hey, we agree with everything they say, but we're just looking for some receipts, some backup on some of this stuff. So let's see. Okay, so this is CNBC. If you trust them, they're saying U.S. and China agreed to slash tariffs for 90 days in major trade breakthrough. So everybody's talking about tariffs all day long. It's exhausting. And if you try to say anything about it, people are going to come to you and say, "Yeah, but you're not an economist." And it's true. I'm not. I don't know anything. Okay, so don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Everybody's got an idea of how things ought to go. But anyway, all this trade war stuff going on. It's not over. It's not over. But at least there is this, what they are claiming is a breakthrough. 90 days. Pause on some of this stuff. So what it means, this is the abstract. Again, this is CNBC, so just one particular source. U.S. and China on Monday agreed to suspend most tariffs on each other's goods in a move that shows a thawing of trade tensions between the world's two largest economies. The deal means reciprocal tariffs between both countries will be cut from 125% to 10%. The U.S. is 20% duties on Chinese imports relating to fentanyl will remain in place, meaning total tariffs on China stand at 30%. So anyway, yeah. So again, not to get into politics, but what a lot of people have been saying, and we've been hearing it from like indie game developers. So I think I said a few things at the very start of this, which was like, hey, I'm not a collector. I'm not a guy who regularly supports Kickstarters or crowdfunding campaigns. I don't pre-order stuff because Hasbro recently paused all their pre-orders. People were freaking out about that. And I'm like, well, I don't do all that stuff. But I wasn't trying to sound like an elitist and say, oh, I'm better than you guys because I don't do that. It's just that that's not something I normally do anyway. And people came to me and said, listen, you got to look at the big picture. It affects more things than just the game industry. Well, of course, yeah, obviously, because we're talking about all kinds of products. But on this podcast, we're not talking about like the price of eggs or the price of toilet paper or whatever, all that stuff that's more important than your latest game. But it does seem like a lot of these smaller game developers that are relying on like Kickstarters, they're definitely heavily impacted, and some of these companies even said that they were closing their doors like right at the start. Like as soon as the tariffs were announced, they're just like, we can't do it. So that was disappointing for people who were into those companies, and people who work for those companies. Obviously that impacts people. So, right. And I understand too that depending on where you are in the world or where you are in the US, if you're in the US like me, like I'm in the middle of the country, so some stuff that affects people on the coasts are going to hit them differently than here. Depends on what you're trying to get. But I know as just a regular Joe customer, sorry, always got to use Joe as the generic person. Thanks for joining us, Joe. But yeah, just the regular average person. When you see something that you were gonna buy is like more expensive than you planned on it. I mean, unless it's something essential, chances are you're gonna look for an alternative, right? You're gonna look for a cheaper alternative, or you're gonna say, you know what, maybe I can do without it. I've always been a guy that likes older games, so if a new game comes out, I'm probably not going to buy it anyway, tariff or no tariff. But yeah, so all this talk about prices going up. Um, anyway, so you have to address it. So I just want to say that like I know that I don't have the final word on this stuff. I'm used to it. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah, it's like I know I don't have the final word on this stuff. I only know what I read, and the problem is like if you're like me, you have limited time. You go there and you'll see like an article, and there'll be somebody just laying it all out for you and say, listen, it's this, this, and this, and you should believe this, this, and this is how you fix it. It's like, okay, I mean, seems pretty convincing. And then you got another article right next to it saying, wrong, wrong, wrong. Everything that guy said is, complete crap. It's the opposite. And you should believe the opposite. And you're like, okay, so now what do I do? Like, I'll try to learn more about it. I'll try to educate myself, but it's kind of a headache. So I don't know. If this is a good sign, great. I know that Renegade Game Studios, we already talked about this in the previous Rantcast. We'll just mention it. Renegade Game Studios, who is licensed to distribute and publish HeroScape from Hasbro, they were saying, okay, our pre-orders, we're going to have to raise the prices. So they were raising their prices on individual HeroScape boxes like $5, $10. And it's like, okay, well, that's not so bad. Seems like a minor inconvenience, as one person said. Um, anyway, everybody has commentary. Like people were saying, well, it's like a strike. You're like you don't go on strike forever. It's a strategy. But listen, I don't fight trade wars. I don't plan trade wars. I don't know anything about trade wars other than what people say. And yeah, there's a lot of misinformation. So anyway, I've beaten that subject to death, but just want to share that at this moment, this is what we see. So this will probably be obsolete, out of date. But anyway, some of the other articles, just to bring to your attention, some of the older articles. So this was from Bell of Lost Souls. If you put any stock in what they say, belloflostsouls.net. they have this alliteration read talking about the tariffs. They're talking about Funko. So different companies. I don't know how you say it. Is it Camon? CMON? Or Simone? But I don't know much about them. But there's this game company that a lot of people talk about. So they said they're halting game development, announcing layoffs. Of course, this article is from May 9th, so not that long ago. But Cellofair is another company that was talking about being, impacted. So yeah, I mean it sucks. Like, okay, Gloomhaven, I've heard of that. There's a game. So some of these projects are saying, yeah, it might not happen or they might be delayed. But with the agreement or the breakthrough or the pause or whatever they want to call it, does that just mean there's just going to be like 2 months where there's like no games come out and sadly a few companies go out of business because I mean you could lose a lot of money in 2 months and then everything will come back. I know some of the stuff I've read have said, well, if you really wanted to uh, get these companies to start producing domestic, because the reason they do this is because of the trade laws as they are. You want to outsource stuff because that's how you can make the most money or lose the least money. Um, it's like you have to give these companies time. They can't just do it overnight. It takes like years for them to figure it out. So is this going to go anywhere, or this is this just going to kind of like implode and it'll be like so many other things where the big companies can survive because they can eat the cost, but the small companies can't take it, and that doesn't seem fair to those small companies. So there's a lot of hard feelings. It's a sore subject. A lot of people are pissed off. A lot of people have strong opinions about it. So again, I'm not trying to, crap on anybody's opinion. Somebody will be reading this or listening to this and thinking, "Man, I know so much more about it than this guy. Why can't he see how simple it is?" And it's like, to me, it's not simple. It seems very complicated. Like there's layers of it, and I get it. Like it's not just about the products; it's about the economy. And then you think, well, if it's affecting this, it's probably going to affect this other thing that I care about. And as soon as it affects the things you care about, then you're like, oh man, why can't it be different? So anyway, there's that article. And another article, this is from The Sun, and again, I know some people are going to be like, yeah, consider the source. I mean, they're not always the greatest, The Sun, but they were saying, oh, well, might see empty shelves at these retailers because they rely so much on products from China, so it's going to be crappy. So it'll be like, get your toilet paper, and yeah, I bought some extra toilet paper. So I mean, don't be crazy, but still, there's people that are looking at worst case scenario. This is from May 5th, but again, it'll be interesting to see like what these sources start saying like in response to the deal. It's like, okay, is this better? Is this worse? Is this the same? Should we wait and see? But it's a developing story. So here's some more stuff. This is from, hope you're seeing all this. Yeah. This is from Board Game Wire. So they're saying, this is just the title. Fewer releases, spending freezes, and rising prices. Board game publishers face volatile financial future as U.S. hikes China tariff to 20%, brings in 25% Canada-Mexico tariffs. This is from March 6th. So this is a much older article. But I mean, you can sort of see the progression, and this is not something that just came out of nowhere. People have been worried about this, discussing it for a long time. And honestly, I've tried to stay out of it because, again, I know my limitations. I'm not an economist. I can't like intelligently say, "Oh yes, of course, these should be the policies. And if you just do this, then it'll work out this way. And this is what you should, say to your elected officials, and this is what you should say to your game company." I know there's people out there that are wanting to blame the companies and say, well, look, they wouldn't be in this position in the first place if they'd done this, this, and this, and now they're suffering. And I don't know. I think back to stuff like when COVID happened. I mean, you had a lot of retailers that were already in big trouble, like they were already suffering, and the pandemic finished them off. And it's like, some people would look at that and say, well, it's just survival of the fittest, the market decides. And it's like, that's small comfort if you're the one that got laid off, if you're the one that's business closed, or if you just like shopping there and now it's gone. But I get it. I mean, you can't be prepared for everything. Um, but sometimes stuff happens and it ruins your plans. So anyway, yeah, I'm boiling down like these huge, huge topics into tiny little things. But I mean, if people want to argue about it, like hopefully they aren't going to do it on our Discord because we're not about that. But just to say, hey, we acknowledge it's happening. Wish it wasn't, or wish there was, a good resolution to it. So again, going back in time, so this is from April. This is from Board Game Wire again. So CMON or CMON or whatever it's called announces layoffs, pauses future game development, and new crowdfunding due to U.S. tariffs. Of course, then you wonder, like, what are these companies going to do now? Like, you've got this uncertainty, you've got this volatility. Are they going to hire people back? Or is the damage, already done? And this is it for some of these companies. And some of these IPs they have, like, what's going to happen to those? Is somebody else going to swoop in and buy it? I think a lot of people hope that, oh yeah, I like Zombicide, and so if CMON goes away, I'm going to lose that, but maybe some other company will get it. Well, not necessarily. They might decide this is just too expensive, or it's just not going to work out. I don't know what the license deal says. Maybe there's some restriction on it. You got to wait so many years before somebody else does it. Who's to say? Like with the whole thing with Hasbro, I mean, Hasbro is this giant company, and you think, gee, nothing can touch them. But I remember a few years back, people were saying, yeah, they're in big trouble. They might go out of business. How do you know that they can just, weather any storm? So don't be surprised if, sometimes some of these companies have something that they can't handle. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't like I've said many times, I don't care about Hasbro. I don't like Hasbro. I think they do a lot of stupid stuff, but they do happen to own Avalon Hill, which makes a game that I really like, which is called HeroQuest. And so whatever happens to Hasbro does down the line affect that franchise. So kind of sucks. Yeah. And what's done is done. We can't go back in time and say, hey, don't do this or that or the other thing. They've already done it. And so now they just have to kind of figure it out. All right. So I've been doing a lot of talking. Let me check out our chat here. All right, Bohemius. Oh, and Joe Kosher. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for your comments. So Joe says, how tight is the bottom line if a short-term tariff increase puts your company under? Well, that's the thing that I was wondering, because again, you have these pundits talking, you have companies commenting, you have reporters commenting. It's like, who's right? Because they're not really saying everything, and so you're getting a certain picture of what's going on. Speaking of pictures, it's gonna fire into infinity there. It's like the Death Star laser. Yeah, one pundit was commenting that, oh, the way these, I think it was Simon, the way, or come on, however they're pronounced, like they have all these Kickstarters going, and so like the one pays for the other, pays to the other, pays for the other, and so they had like all these irons in the fire, and it's like, I'm like, is that really how it works? Like, if even one of them failed, like the whole thing would just collapse. Like I understand, like with Avalon Hill through Hasbro, like they don't just release one product and then they wait for it to come out and wait for it to be a success or a failure and then they start working on the next project. No, they've got like multiple projects like in the pipeline. Like they're working on this and it's like 18 months later and then this is going to come out and this, like they're just going along. And if something derails that, then they have to rethink it and they have backup plans and they have all this stuff. And it's like, but that's Avalon Hill connected with Hasbro. You would think that they have access to more manpower and resources than a lot of these smaller companies. So they may have a system by which they can't afford to like have one flop. And yeah, it seems crazy to think, but I don't know. It's like people who are like one paycheck away from poverty. I mean, it could be the case. I mean, you look at these companies and it like they give a brave exterior, like, oh yeah, they're fired up and they've got this slick looking product and it looks great. For all we know, they're just about they've borrowed all the money they can and they're about to close up shop. Things don't work out. I don't know. I don't know. Because again, I mean, we've heard before about companies that will basically lie to their investors and like make it seem like things are one way, but really there's some other way, and it's a big scandal. I mean, we can't just assume that, like, oh yeah, they must be lying. They're obviously lying. Um, but yeah, it puts that whole vote with your wallet thing into perspective. If you think, okay, if I don't support this company that I really like, they might not make it. I mean, probably not just you, but like if enough of their customers do that, then they're going to be in big trouble. But again, I could be talking about on my ass here. Bohemius has some comments. He says, is all strategy for complete picture we cannot even see. We just see the side effects. Since we cannot do anything about it, let's sit and watch. Well, there's that. Yeah. I mean, if I was on the board of directors of one of these companies, I would try to like be learning all I could about the topic. I'd be, because this would be my livelihood, right? I'd want to know exactly what's going on at all times. And if I said anything, like I would be choosing my words so carefully to make sure that, everybody knows exactly where I stand. But since I'm just a customer, it's like, oh, don't know. Sound like an idiot. Sorry. Bohemius goes on to say it's like an earthquake reshaping the earth. You cannot plan to rebuild during it. You have to see what is left intact and rebuild when the event is over. Well, that's the other thing. People were saying different things like, oh, well, if you just, don't like one administration, just wait, 4 years and then things will be different. But think of all the money you're going to lose in the meantime. Like, you have to have some plan. You have to have some way of doing your business. But yeah, something changes, and if you can't adapt to it, you may have to give it up. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's just kind of the way it is. That is the reason why they stop a lot of projects. Well, that's the other thing too. We know that like Disney, they've been made fun of so much because Kathleen Kennedy, head of Lucasfilm, she'll announce like all these Star Wars projects, like movies and TV shows, and then like half of them will get canceled or just they'll never say anything about it again. It's like, oh, it's just gone. And then you think, well, okay, but those are the ones that they announced. What about all the stuff that they don't tell us about? Like, I'm sure there's lots of books that never get written, lots of movies that never get made, lots of games that never get finished. And if they don't publicize it, how do we ever know? But we could assume probably that, yeah, these companies are not trying to waste money and lose money. I mean, unless they're running some kind of scam like the producers. If everybody remembers that movie, the original is better than the remake. But anyway, yeah, it's like, okay, for the most part, they're trying to make money, right? That's the whole point of having a corporation. Um, but there's false starts. There's all these unpublished scripts out there, so not everything that is begun is finished. But at the same time, we also know from our talks with the Hasbro developers, I mean, they start working on a game, they decide it's not going to work out, they put it on the shelf. They don't throw it into the shredder, they just put it away into the vault somewhere. And it's like maybe at some point they'll dust that off and repackage that and change it into something else. It's like, okay, well, that wasn't the right time, but now is the right time. Now we have this idea that we can use, or maybe this will work. And sometimes those things end up being a hit, just whereas previously it's like, okay, this wasn't working, we didn't have the right people on it, or it just wasn't the right time, the market wasn't ready. So you want to have a backup plan if you can. But yeah, a lot of these projects may just never happen. They just may never happen, or it may be like Heroescape. They decide, what, we can't do it, but we can license it out to somebody else, and they can make good use of these, unreleased sculpts and cards and things like that and actually sell it and make a profit. And I know we've talked before about how there was this board game boom or board game bubble. And when COVID happened, like people were playing a lot more board games and buying a lot more board games and supporting Kickstarters. And so it like increased that whole momentum. And then they've been fighting to get it back ever since. And something like this comes along and it's like even harder for them to get over it, get through it, get past it. But yeah, it just kind of boggles the mind because I mean, again, I sound like an ignoramus because it's like, okay, how can it be that somebody can get on TV and say something and then stocks of companies just drop? It's like, okay, well, okay, if it's that volatile, I mean, it makes you wonder, something really big happens. So yeah, it's just nuts. So somebody says something, oh, things are going to get bad, so the stock drops. Oh, things are going to get better, so it comes back up again. Um, yeah, it's it's not something that I have a good understanding of. And there's lots of people that want to educate me on that, and that's great. And I'm willing to listen, you know. But yeah, don't look to me for your opinion. I just look at the effects, like you said. Bohemia says, yes, that's the way they finance the projects. They get loans on the success of the previous one. Right. Yeah, well, that's what I've heard too. So, this was another article. This is from ghostbustersnews.com. I mean, I like the original Ghostbusters. I remember the cartoon. Actually, I think the artist, what was his name? Jeff Smith, who did some of the artwork for the real Ghostbusters cartoon, recently passed away. So rest in peace. Hope I got his name right. But yeah, Hasbro is saying, okay, suspends pre-orders amid tariff uncertainty. Of course, this is May 10th, so 3 days ago. Today's news, while not directly affecting any of Hasbro's Ghostbusters releases that we know of, the master toy licensee has taken steps in response to ongoing tariff concerns, including suspending pre-orders on HasbroPulse.com, which I did verify myself. I went there and they had like Optimus Prime, and I was like, clicked on it, and the pre-order button was grayed out. It's like, okay. Not that I was going to, but I was just going to see if it worked. Also, they check your age like every single page, so I guess good for them. Let's see. Yeah. Hasbro Pulse for major brands such as Star Wars, Marvel, G.I. Joe, and Transformers. Earlier this week, Hasbro Pulse issued a notice encouraging fans to lock in pre-order pricing before May 8th. I remember Renegade Game Studios did something similar. While the message didn't explicitly confirm a price increase, Hasbro CEO Chris Cox previously warned that rising import costs would likely be passed along to consumers, describing the situation as pretty fluid. Cox added, I feel uncomfortable reading this. Hasbro expects movements on the tariff front, with possible changes coming as early as the weekend following scheduled talks between U.S. and Chinese officials. Boom, potentially resulting in adjusted tariff prices. These figures look ugly. What is wrong with them? It's like they took the figures from the 90s and they like spray painted them yellow and they glow in the dark. But like they just look weird. I mean, I guess they glow more because they're completely green, just about. Anyway, this site focuses on Ghostbusters. Oh, here he is. Here, Jim Smith. I'm sorry, not Jeff Smith. Jim Smith. Yeah, let's take a quick look over at this guy. Obviously, I didn't know him, but I mean, I remember the cartoon. Oh, he did. He worked on Ren and Stimpy as well. He wasn't the Ren and Stimpy guy, but he was one of the guys. Let's see. The age of 70, best known as co-founder of the animation studio Spumco and co-creator of Nickelodeon's The Ren and Stimpy Show, Smith's decades-long career left a lasting mark in the animation industry. You know, the real Ghostbusters, Transylvanian Homesick Blues, The Boogeyman is Back, The Grundle, and Halloween 2.5. Aw. Tiny Toon Adventures, Batman the Animated Series. Oh man, I love that show. Samurai Jack, Over the Garden Wall. Yep. Sad. Yeah, I remember these Ghostbuster toys. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get sucked into all this. But yeah, I mean, like Hasbro Pulse, they sell like these Ghostbuster Proton packs. It's like, oh, this looks cool. Oh, how much is it? Oh, it's like $700. I'll forget it. I'll just make it myself out of like an old vacuum cleaner. I mean, these toys look cool. All right. Yep. Okay, so that's enough of that. All right, let me just change gears here. I don't want to be all negative. I know it's the rant cast, but we don't just talk about negative things. We try to talk about positive things too when we can. Got any more comments? Nope. Okay, so changing gears here. So I was looking at the GenCon schedule. So GenCon this year, next Sunday, they're opening up the events registration. So I really don't have a wish list for events yet because there's nothing I'm super like pumped about at the moment. I mean, yes, there's a whole page of HeroQuest events. Looks like two different groups are putting them on, and that's cool. But I'm interested in the Avalon Hill ones. And as Sika Shem pointed out, they did comment on Instagram a while back that, and everybody's doing their part. I looked at the comments and I'm like, you guys are commenting and, telling them what you want, which is great, which is what Doug asked for. So good on you guys, because I'm not on Instagram, so I just can encourage people. But anyway, they said announcements were coming, big announcements. They're going to be running lots of games. So Avalon Hill is doing that. But if you type in Avalon Hill, you just get, let's see, you don't get any HeroQuest related stuff. You just get Kingmaker. That's it. Kingmaker 2023. Never heard of it. So a lot of the events are not listed yet. So we may have to just wait until the 18th. I actually took the day off of work. Hopefully that was worth it to make sure I can sign up for the things I want. But yeah, my plan is I'm going to try to get into the HeroQuest events. I mean, we're speculating still it's going to be Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. And then also, I think, personally, I think it's going to be Wizards of Morcar. I don't think they're going to wait until January to start talking about it. I think they're at least going to tell us about it. And who knows, maybe they would even have it ready to go. Like you just walk in and boom, it's right there in the glass case. How cool would that be? So we have the UK Gaming Expo between now and then. So it's possible we'll hear other things. Oh, one other bit of bad news. Sorry. Just when you think it's over, no, there's more. But wait, there's more. Okay, let's look at these First Light HeroQuest dice. These First Light HeroQuest dice that I've been raving about ever since they announced them. Unfortunately, there is a bit of a problem. Yeah, it would be awesome, Joe, if Wizards of Morcar gets revealed at Gen Con. I mean, anything can happen, right? But yeah, if they say, well, because of tariffs. Oh, that was the other thing people were saying about tariffs. Again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but some people were saying, like, just watch. What's going to happen is they're going to raise the prices, and after the tariffs are gone, they're going to keep the prices high, and they're going to screw everybody over, and it's just use that as an excuse. And well, it's like, well, okay. That's not to say that it won't have real effects. It has had real effects. It will have real effects. But is it possible that some companies will take advantage? Yeah, it is possible. So anyway, shelve that, table that. Joe Kozer says I still have to make a wish list of games I want to play. So here's the thing. Here's the secret to people who haven't been to Gen Con before. And I know several people from the stream or from the community in Discord are going there for the first time. So I'm not sure if Amalgamash has been there before, but it sounds like he probably is coming. And Sika Shem, I don't think he's come before. But you can just buy a pass, like a 4-day pass, and you can have a ball. Like, you don't have to be signed up for anything. Yes, you probably want to go in there and buy some generic tickets. I mean, don't go crazy. I mean, you're going to be waiting in line for a while, but they're like $2 a piece. Maybe get yourself $10 worth of tickets. And it's fairly easy to just roam around. Like, you could spend an entire day, multiple days, wandering around the convention center, just looking at stuff. And there's going to be tables where people are like, oh, here's a free sample. Like they'll give you some dice or cards, or they'll just have free stuff, swag that you can just pick up. You can fill a whole bag of it. There's people who have designed games that'll just like give you a free demo, just like here you go. Like you don't even have to use a ticket. Now a lot of the events will say, yeah, you just if they've got an opening, you want to play some Warhammer Kill Team, not the laser tag, the actual board game. You give them a generic ticket and you sit down and play. Like that's fine. That's $2. So as long as you got that ticket with you. So sign up for the events ahead of time is good if it's something you really want to do. The other thing is, so when I first did it, I had a group and it was like going to classes at university. Like they had signed up all day long. I got to be here for this from this hour to this hour. When that's over, I got to walk across and go to this other one, and then I go to the Lucas Oil Stadium, and I go to this thing, and it's like they were running all day long. You can do that, but I don't recommend it. I recommend maybe you sign up for a couple things you like, and the rest of the time just roam around, just find stuff. I mean, yeah, if you want to maximize your time, especially if it's like hard for you to get around, if you're older or you have a disability or something, you need you want to maximize your efficiency. I get that. But yeah, you leave time for lunch and dinner and all that. But yeah, you can roam around, you can play games. The other thing is you can play games with other fans. Like there's people that just open up a table and it's like, hey, anybody want to play? All right, let's do it. And I mean, if you like the people you're playing with, you can hang out for hours. I think some of us did that last year, and we'll probably do that again this year. So yeah, the vendor hall. That's the thing. So you got the exhibit hall, where all the displays are up. So that's where Avalon Hill is with their huge, uh, display, and then all their game tables where they're running HeroQuest or Betrayal or whatever games they've got going. Um, you can do that. But then, yeah, you go to the vendor hall where you've just got people selling stuff. So you got people selling the foam swords, which, if they've got the live action role play, you can take those with you and go to the live action role play and bash people around with foam swords. And they've got people selling paintings and dice, of course, cards. You got every new startup company saying like, here's my game, assuming they survive the tariffs. Sorry to go back to that topic again, but I mean, that's how it was. Like, just every inch, like it's just wall to wall people. So make sure you shower, use deodorant, use soap, don't be a slob, or at least wear a costume that covers all that up so that people can't smell you. But yeah, just be considerate. It wasn't too bad, no. I think the only stinky people were in line when we were waiting for tickets. It's like, oh, please don't do this to me. It's air conditioned. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, you go through the vendor place and you look at all the stuff. Here, let me change this graphics. Sorry, you're just staring at this. Yeah, so you could spend all your time in the vendor hall, and there's games going on, and outside there's like a beer tent, and there's like live music and stuff going on. There's like people on street corners with microphones. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, if you want to sightsee, go to restaurants. I mean, it's not just, a trade show. It's a trade show, yes, but it's also a fan convention. And there's other events. There's people that, yeah, they play music. There's interactive stuff. They have rooms for kids, like they have an arcade. They have pinball machines. They have like a playroom. But if you're bringing kids, it's probably tougher. You probably would just want like a day pass or something, unless you're local, because that's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Four whole days. Also, recommendation: get up early. Get up early. Force yourself to get up early and get there right when the doors open, because otherwise it's going to be hard to find parking. Just saying. But be prepared. You may need to walk around. Okay, that's why you went in costume. Well, I'll tell you this. At the time, some of us were still worried about COVID, and some people were wearing masks. And the fact that I had a big beard in my face, I thought it was kind of functioning like a mask. So, anyway. But yeah, I made sure I showered, wear clean clothes. All right. So these are the First Light HeroQuest dice, which the people that pre-ordered them are now getting them and have posted pictures. And I have said before that I think these look like an improvement over the Dreadvale dice that Avalon Hill, well, I shouldn't say Avalon Hill, fanroll. Fanroll are the people who have been commissioned to create these premium HeroQuest dice for Hasbro Avalon Hill's HeroQuest. I mean, it's all branded stuff, but I guess it's licensed. So it's not like Doug made these. These are made by other people. But um, the Dreadvale dice that they released for Rise of the Dread Moon, which I got free copies of, because they knew I bought everything, because they probably saw my unboxing videos, which was awesome. Thank you, Chris. Those looked really cool, but our complaint was when you're sitting at the table and you're rolling the dice across the table, it's hard to see them, even in the bright lights. It's like you need the dice that are high contrast, the white background and the black symbols. Easy to see, easy to tell instantly. Oh, is that a skull? Is it a white shield? But these fancy dice, it's a little harder. So then they came out with the crystal inclusion dice for Jungles of Delthrak, and it's like the green with more green and dark green and some red, and it's like, okay, these have the same problems as before. So when they came out with these, I thought, oh, this is finally an improvement. Like it's this nice magenta. It almost looks like a nebula, from astronomy or something, and it's this bright gold. Like this looks awesome. This looks good. Like I was thinking about, man, I should get this, and I was holding back because I said, well, it's a limited run. It's a limited release. I feel like an elitist. Like I'm not saying you are an elitist if you get it, but it's that FOMO thing again. We went through the thing with the Guardian Knights. It's like I don't want to support, I don't want to encourage this kind of thing. I want to just I want their products to be just retail. Like they just keep printing it until people don't want it anymore. Instead of saying, "Oh yeah, we're just going to, release it for like a month and then it sells out and it's gone forever." It's not that important to have dice that are different color. Who cares? Now the good thing is at least they're restricting this exclusive stuff to things that don't impact gameplay. I mean, I don't need these. Whereas the Guardian Knight, it's like, okay, I don't need that either, but I mean, at least that's like a new character. Like that changes how you play. Whereas this is just like, well, okay, you got two different sets of dice at the table, two different colors. It's kind of cool. Zargon can roll his dice, the heroes roll their dice, and you don't have to clean up the table. You can just see, okay, the purple dice say this, the white dice say that. That's resolve the combat. I mean, it's a cool way to do it. You could even have each person at the table having their own dice. Now, D&D has this nailed down because you can get every color of the rainbow, every possible combination you can think of. People buy bags of dice, 10 pounds of dice, pound of dice, whatever. Um, just buckets and buckets of dice. HeroQuest is not there yet, but it is kind of cool that they have this. It's just that, yeah, I don't know. It's cheaper. It's more affordable than it was. Instead of paying $35 and you have no choice, you've got to get the dice and the scroll. You get the little dice tin by itself for like, I don't know, $15, and you can buy the tray for like, I don't know, 20, whatever it is. The problem is when I try to go online to see if I can buy these, they all say sold out or they say pre-order, and like they haven't updated their website and it still says coming in April. It's like, okay, we're already into May. Where are they? But the first people that pre-ordered have gotten them. Anyway, to the rant. The rant is, yeah, if you're gonna collect all this stuff, good for you. Good for you. More power to you, man, is what I say. No shame, no judgment against you. But look how awesome these dice look. Now the sad truth. Okay, I compare this to when you look at a burger in the commercial versus reality. And you're going to see in a second what I'm talking about. And yes, you're going to start thinking of falling down. Um, this is what the dice actually look like, apparently. Let me get rid of the fire. I was trying to cover up those ads earlier, sorry. Okay, so on the right, we've got this picture we've been looking at. And then on the left, this is from, Bohemius posted this in the HeroQuest fans Discord. Thank you, Bohemius. This is from Facebook. And of course, we're not going to name names from Facebook. But look at these. I mean, they're pretty. They look like cinnamon gumdrops. And I was thinking, well, it could be the lighting. Maybe the lighting is thrown up, but they look like they look very disappointing. One person was saying that they look like dog shit. It's like, well, I don't know about that, but they don't look as good as they do on the right. And I was not thinking, I mean, yes, that thing on the right, it's like, okay, this could be CGI, but there's a big difference there. The ones on the left do not look anywhere near as awesome as the ones on the right. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, maybe I'll need to see a few more photos, maybe some videos, different lighting situations. But yeah, already people were commenting and saying, yeah, when you roll it, like if it's a black shield, okay, that's got the most gold on it. That's fairly easy to tell. But if it's a white shield or a skull, it's kind of hard to tell. And again, I've said it before, like, okay, well, not everybody is like, a middle-aged guy sitting across from the table. If you roll all your dice in the center of the table, like everybody is at the same vantage point, maybe it's okay. Maybe you just, you roll your own dice and call it out. But I like to see what people roll, especially if I'm Zargon. Cheers, dead gamer. So like I'm sitting at the table and we witnessed this at Gen Con 2 years ago. Was, I'm sitting at one end of the table, the other person's sitting at the other end of the table. They're rolling their Dreadveil dice, and it's like, what'd you get? Skull, two skulls. Okay, you kind of have to like lean over to see what he got. Whereas with the white dice, I mean, you just instantly, like you can tell. So the other thing was, um, and I don't know why I never thought of it. It's like, okay, why am I complaining to Doug, or why am I complaining on the Avalon Hill Discord when it's fanroll who's actually doing these dice? Like I should be writing an email, strongly worded but civil email to fanroll and saying, hey, why don't you make your dice more like this? Why don't you make it more high contrast? Because I think the easiest dice to read are the ones that are the high contrast. Use white or gold is fine, shiny gold, but it's got to be like a darker background or a dark paint and a light background. I mean, just look at Etsy. Like you've got people on Etsy who are shaming you, who are making like bootleg dice that look better than some of the things that you're putting out there. Not all. I mean, if you look at the Dreadveil dice that like the bootleggers or the independent, creators have released, they don't look as fancy as the real ones. Obviously, okay, I get it. Because you've got the clear acrylic cube, and it looks like they've squirted a couple different colors of ink in there, and they put the glitter in. I mean, these just look pink, and okay, they've got lots of glitter, but yeah, they just don't look that cool. Whereas the ones on the right, they look like, yeah, they've got more substance to them. So I don't know, it's disappointing. But yeah, I think they need to do some more research, and I need to compose an email, and I encourage other people to do that as well. It's I think support at fanroll.com. Somebody shared it with me on I think it was Rob Champ shared it on HeroQuest fans Discord. But anyway, yeah, it's out there. If you go to their website, they have, the phone number, they've got the address. Don't harass them, please, but just be nice, be firm, stand up for your rights as a consumer. Um, yeah, but it's just like just tell them what you want, because this is definitely a product, a niche product. This is definitely something that's targeted at collectors, really hardcore fans. So if they're not putting stuff out that people want, what's the point, right? So I would say just tell them what you want. Something that can be read by somebody who doesn't have great eyesight, you know, who's actually playing at the table. Because these, to me, these fancy dice, again, if they're not functional, they're just a collectible. People are going to buy them and put them on the shelf. They're not going to actually use them. I want to use them. Like, I'm assuming these aren't going to just crack, because we've had problems with dice cracking. So anyway, I beat that horse to death. But let's look at a couple more pictures. So there's the promo picture and then the reality. This is what the hey, look, it's Zargon and the silhouette. Just kidding. But yes, one of the people on Facebook again shared, okay, that record album, that's not really, that's the dice tray. So similar to the one for Jungles of Delthrak, like you get this big cardboard sleeve that has the folding dice tray in it. It's just your typical snap together dice tray, and you got your metal tin for the dice. Looks like it's already scuffed. Um, and then okay, there's what it looks like. Of course, there you can tell like the lighting is weird. Like the dice look like they're black. Actually, they look kind of cool, kind of badass there. But obviously, there's some problem with the lighting in this particular picture. But as you can see, it's the barbarian. So this is the yellow fly cover, the improved cover, first light. I don't know why they say 14 plus for this. What you're gonna pinch your skin when you click the snaps together. I mean, maybe you're gonna get frustrated. Throw it like a frisbee and hit your kid brother in the head and get uh, grounded. Um, when you roll the dice on top of that background, so it's not just reading the symbols off the dice. You got to be able to see it like on the background. So a lot of that stuff is important for the testing. You can't just get away with saying this artwork looks awesome. We'll just slap it on there and sell it. Like it's got to look good, yes, but it's got to be functional, in my opinion. Because otherwise, it's just like collecting Funko Pops. I've got this huge, rack full of like 20 different dice trays that I've never used and I never will use, and they'll stay in the shrink wrap. Like, no, I'm gonna take it out and use it. Like, I want it to look good. I want it to be durable, and yeah, it's like okay, so you pay a little bit more, and what do you get? So looks awesome. Doesn't look as awesome as the promo picture, and I don't think I'm gonna be getting this. I can't picture myself using this at the table. And who knows? For all we know, there's going to be people at GenCon using this, and maybe I'll change my mind. But for now, I'm just thinking, nope. I feel justified in not pre-ordering this thing. Definitely. So anyway, um, yeah. Next topic here. I just wanted to shout out a couple people on YouTube because, as you know, I've said it a million times, I'm not a D&D player, but I do appreciate people in the D&D community, the Dungeons and Dragons fans out there, with all their passion. So let's see here. Let's get our screen back. A couple of videos I saw recently, which I appreciated. I mean, there's no shortage of D&D videos. And I know a lot of them are, you could say, oh, they're clickbait, they're rage bait, people complaining about Wizards of the Coast. There's a lot to complain about. But Dungeon Craft, again, not saying I agree with everything he says, Deathbringer here, but he makes a lot of good points. He makes a lot of good points in this video. So this is not like a political video. This is insane D&D tips to take your game to the next level. I appreciate this video because he goes through, and I think this is the right one. Oh, some of the things. So I loved it because, yeah, he's talking about a different type of game. But as we know, HeroQuest uses GMs as well, game masters. And it's like some of the stuff is applicable. So one of the things he says is never stop the game to look up a rule. Okay, I've gotten myself into trouble over this one because I will make a ruling on a certain rule. It's like it's a little vague, we're not quite sure. But then like later on I'll forget what I ruled and I'll make another ruling and it's different. And it confuses my players because they're basing their strategy on like how I said it the first time. So now they're confused. And it's like, okay, so I don't want to be like that. Now to be fair, when we play HeroQuest, we're usually playing like one quest and it's split up over a number of weeks. So we'll do, the Dwelling in Peril Part 1. And then the next Saturday we'll pick it up and we'll play Part 2. So yes, generally the same people show up, but there might be new people. But yeah, you're playing the same quest. Now, if you're just playing it all in one session, I I agree with him because you're not going to be constantly like looking up all the rules. And I know that with HeroQuest, yes, it's an open-ended game. At the same time, I mean, it's much simpler than Dungeons and Dragons, but people have a nostalgia for the rules. And I know like not everybody uses the same rule set, but it's like, okay, you're expecting it to work a certain way. Unless I've told you ahead of time, hey, listen, I know you're used to play it this way, but it's this other way now. Just so everybody's on the same page. Like you want people to be on the same page. But yeah, you don't want to waste tons of time like looking up rules. But when we've started like Jungles of Delthrak, like I wasn't familiar with a lot of the new rules that they came up with, so I was having to like double check stuff because your players need to know. Okay, well, what do I do? So I get that, but I mean, he's laying down the law and he's saying, in his ultimate DM manifesto, he's not going to stop to look up rules. Do we have any comments? Let's see. Nope. Okay. I'm just going on. Your most important session is the next one. So it's like, I don't have a lot to say about that. I mean, but this idea of planning for what's coming, it's like, okay, that's cool. That makes sense. The GM is not a storyteller. They are the conflict designer. This, I hadn't thought about it a lot, but it rings true because I know when we've played HeroQuest with our group on the stream, the HeroQuest fans stream, shout out myself there. Um, Stuff will happen like we'll develop like in jokes and people will do little role playing moments and it'll sometimes get carried over. People will remember it and they'll refer back to it. And maybe I'll riff on it. Let me get it some water here. That kind of thing I think really enhances the game experience. It's not just, okay, you killed the orc, you found the treasure. Okay, you killed the next orc, you found some more treasure. It's not just mechanical like that. There's, riffing and improvisation. And I can try to like say, oh yeah, this story thing happened. But because the players are doing their own thing, they may not always do the thing that you anticipate they will do. So you just kind of go with the flow. So I think he's right on that. And then he says less exposition, more demolition, begin in media res. So the whole idea of the adventure just begins. It's not like you have to show the backstory. You have to build everything first. It's like you're already in the world. The world exists already. It's real. You figure things out as you go. Like I think that's definitely how we play because we don't play the quests in order necessarily, story order. I mean, yes, if we get a quest book out, we usually start at quest 1, 2, 3, 4. But I mean, it's not like, well, okay, you can't play Return of the Witch Lord until you've played Keller's Keep, and you can't play that until you play the game system. It's like, no, we just start up, and somebody will join our stream, and they haven't played before, so they've missed 30 quests. It's like, who cares? We'll just get them up to speed now. So, yeah, I think that's kind of built into what we do. He says, make the objective clear, include a time limit. Well, with this, we kind of sort of do that. I mean, on Fridays, I've set aside 2 hours, and usually our games end up going maybe 3 hours, 3.5 hours. I think we've done 4 hours before. Usually that's the hard limit. On Saturdays, definitely restricted to 2 hours. But since we don't necessarily start right on the dot, like they usually chit chat and stuff, or people show up late, it's more like 2.5 hours. Or I mean, not 2.5 hours. What am I saying? An hour and 45 minutes, let's say, or an hour and a half. That's fine. And then it's endless in the sense that in the next session we can pick up where we left off. It's not like you have to win this quest today or you're not winning it. But I do see the wisdom in setting a boundary, setting a time limit in that sense. You're not just saying, "Oh, we're just going to keep on playing until like everybody's too tired to even care." you know, or whatever. And then we're just going to throw it in the closet and it's over. Or we're never going to get past this one quest. Like you start out playing one campaign and it's just not working, so you jump to the next one. It's like, why not? Give yourself that freedom, that flexibility. I agree with him on that. Respect the dice, don't fudge. I don't see the big issue there, but I guess there's some people who roll their dice behind the GM screen and don't let you see what it is because they want the dice to like have some other outcome. And he makes a good argument here in his video of saying like, if you're gonna do that, just don't roll the dice. Just say, oh yeah, it does, this amount of damage, or it happens. It's like either do it or don't do it. Don't just like pretend that you're rolling, but you're not really rolling or something. I don't know. It's weird, but it gave me some insight into like that's how some people play. Telegraph danger. I don't know if I do that. I like to surprise people, so I disagree with him there. But D&D is a different type of game, so it's like give people a little bit of a warning. I mean, sometimes they do. I'll say, okay, you get an uneasy feeling, but then it's a wandering monster trap. So it's like they know there's a trap, but they just don't know when it's going to hit. They go around the corner. Oh, there it is. Cut the shoe leather. Well, that's talking about how do you have to show everything? Like you travel from one town to the next. Do you have to like plot out everything? I guess in terms of HeroQuest, the way it plays out is there's no monsters on the board. You can move 12 squares. Like that's what we say if you want to. You don't have to roll, just to kind of like speed it up. I mean, yes, you are traveling from one place to another. Reward player creativity, default to yes. I think that's more the rule of cool. I agree with that. Never cancel session because one player didn't show up. Well, if we did that, we would never play because we always have different combinations of people, even though we've got a lot of the same people. Now, he did say in Dungeon Craft, Dungeon Master, when he's talking about shoe leather, it's like in movies they talk about, do you have to show the guy walking all the way to his car? Like, unless it's support for the plot, just cut that out. Just show, okay, he's already in the car or he's already in the house. The shopping phase, like he doesn't like the shopping phase. He thinks that's boring. I love the shopping phase, so I stick up for the shopping phase. To me, that's like sometimes that's one of the most fun parts of the game because it's like, man, I earned all this gold, and I'm gonna buy that sword that I finally wanted, and yes, you know, if you have everything just handed to you, it's like, it's not as fun. Not everybody agrees. If you're watching the replay, you can always skip past that part if you think it's boring. Exactly. Yep. I'm not sure what the exactly was in terms of, but one of those things. So anyway, that's Professor Dungeon Craft. That's the name he goes by. Yeah. Um, Deathbringer here. So yeah, check out that video. I thought it was good. Another video. Okay, Bob the World Builder. Now, I had watched a lot of his videos during the OGL thing. And it was like people were saying, okay, this is the most positive guy ever. He always sees the bright side of things, like several people I know. Uh, I'm looking at you, Ash. No, just kidding. I mean, when we say that sort of thing, we're not dishing on those people saying like, oh, their opinions don't matter. It's just that like some people tend towards the negative side. They tend to see the glass half empty. But then you got other people that try to focus on the positive, and we need all kinds of people like that. But anyway, Bob the World Builder, I can see what people were saying because I was watching this video and I'm just like, it's like how D&D ruined its digital future. And look at him, like through the whole video, he's outside, he's smiling, big smile, he's enjoying nature, he's touching grass, as they say, as the kids say these days. And it's just like the whole video was just delightful because he's like, okay, well, here's the facts. Here's what happened with, D&D Beyond and 1D&D and all this. And they did all this stuff in Baldur's Gate 3, and they basically screwed themselves over with their opportunity to seize everybody and force everybody to make, the switch to digital. And he's happy about it because he sees it as, I mean, not to steal his thunder, I mean, definitely check out his video. The whole point is the way he likes to play Dungeons and Dragons is with the books and the physical media, so to speak, not just whipping out your phone and playing some like, all digital like app. It's like the fun of D&D is sitting down with your pencil and paper and you got your physical dice and you're at the table with sitting around with your friends and you're playing. And it's like, because Hasbro bungled this strategy that they had, this is pushing, as he sees it, more people towards the traditional way of playing. And it's like, awesome. So it's like people are discovering board games because these companies flopped in their attempt to, over monetize the stuff. So anyway, it's definitely worthwhile, and it's fun seeing him out there hiking because I like the outdoors. I like the hike. Made me want to go outside and do what he's doing. And it's a great counter to the nerd stereotype. It's like, oh, people spend all their time in their dimly lit basements, not going outside and enjoying fresh air. So yeah, check out Bob the World Builder, how D&D ruined its digital future. So yeah, he definitely sees the bright side, but he makes some good points. He makes some really good points. Okay, let's see. I think that's basically it. That's basically what I've got for today. There's some topics that the Strange Bus, check out his work, twitch.tv/TheStrangeBus and TheStrangeBus on YouTube. He couldn't be here tonight. He had some topics talking more about NVIDIA, more about industry layoffs, some other things. I don't want to steal his thunder. I don't want to take that away from him. I think when he comes back, we'll definitely cover those and other topics. 46 and 2 ahead of me. Yep. Oh, yeah, Joe. Joe talking about the shopping phase. See, I like the shopping phase. I mean, I definitely do. When I was a kid, I liked, you know, scouring the dungeon and getting as much treasure as I could. And I like going to the armory and picking out the stuff that I wanted to buy, buying the stuff, writing it down on my character sheet, getting all psyched up for the next quest. I'm going to use this awesome sword and this great armor. And these potions are going to, save my hide in the next quest. Yeah, it's part of the experience. And I get a kick out of it. I get a thrill when I hear my players talking, because I'm usually Zargon, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll give you this amount of gold, and here, take one of my potions, and like, okay, well, we can add that together, and then we can get this other thing for you." And it's just like, yes, like I get excited for that. It's fun. It's fun seeing the planning coming together, because I know as Zargon that they're gonna need all help they can get sometimes. Sometimes I have to be the one that's stepping up my game because it's like, oh, they're so well equipped, they're going to need an extra challenge. And the nice thing about our streams is that we have the unpredictability of the crowd. The crowd might be on the side of the heroes that day, or they might be on the side of Zargon that day. So they may be adding things to the quest as we play, making it harder, making it easier. I mean, yes, as Zargon, I have the final say. I can veto something if it's going to break, but so far I haven't had to do that. I've just kind of incorporated it as we go. 46 and 2 ahead of me says, think they'll ever add some new equipment and future expansions, or just artifacts like usual? Well, actually, to be that guy, actually, they have added new equipment. They always add new equipment when they have a new hero. Well, I guess not always. Okay, let me mediate that. So the Bard had a rapier, so that was a new equipment. So that was in Spirit Queen's Torment. Prophecy of Telor, you really didn't, because it's just. Or no, you did. Yeah, yeah. Prophecy of Telor, you had the wand that was the unique weapon of the Warlock. The Druid and Against the Ogre Horde just had a dagger, so nothing new. The Knight in Rise of the Dread Moon just had short sword and shield. It's already in there. It's just alternate artwork. Um, Something worth buying. Yeah. Well, and technically, all of the potions that you see, I mean, yes, most recently in Jungles of Delthrak, they put the potion cards on alchemy cards. It's like the alchemy deck from Rise of the Dread Moon, but they're technically equipment. So between quests, you can buy them. You can you can sell them back to the armory for half price or half gold listed price, whatever. So they're considered equipment. Now in the original game, it wasn't that way. In the classic '90s HeroQuest, the alchemist shop and the armory were separate, and so the armory wasn't as well defined. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, you can buy these potions between quests with gold. Can you sell them back? What? How does that work? Hey, Rob Champ. Little late, but cheers. Yeah, cheers to you, buddy. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Joe says the whole part of adventuring is buying better stuff for the next quest. Yeah, I think the shopping is fun. So, yeah, so Rob, all you missed was we were talking about the dice. We're talking about the tariffs, the dreaded T word, you know. But supposedly a deal, at least a temporary deal, has been struck. So it's maybe not the end of the world. Maybe the board game industry is not completely collapsing. I mean, sounds like some companies have already decided that they're done, they can't do it, and there's already been some layoffs and some projects have been canceled or paused. Some prices have already gone up, but it might not be as bad or last as long as some people were worried about. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But yeah, I was sharing these different videos. So these guys are talking about D&D, but I think a lot of the things they say is applicable to um, HeroQuest. So Bob the World Builder, it's just such a delightful video. He's talking about how like the failure, Hasbro's failure with trying to replace D&D with a digital D&D has just driven or is driving more people to discover the classic pencil and paper RPG or board game, you know, that D&D can be and that experience. And you could say the same thing about um, HeroQuest in a way. I mean, once you discover those limitations of the companion app, it's like you might try your hand at being Zargon. Like these monsters are kind of easy. They're kind of basic, kind of simple. Like I could do a better job at this. Or you know what? We played this quest. I'm ready for something new. Like maybe I'll try to write my own quest. See what happens. Like you know, it's like you see the weaknesses, you see the limitations, and it encourages you to try, you know, the physical game, which then actually puts you back playing the game the way it was in the classic era before all this AI nonsense, you know. I mean, to be fair, the HeroQuest app is a tool. It still is assuming you have the physical board game in front of you, so it's not replacing it. Um, but the D&D thing was much more like, no, you're going to have your phone out and you're going to be playing the whole thing on here and it's going to be a subscription and all this stuff. I mean, there's a place for games. Like Baldur's Gate 3 was a big hit. Like I didn't realize it had made over $1 billion. Like that blew my mind. I remember the original Baldur's Gate was popular. Like people were just obsessed with that game. And just, you know, all these awards and it's, you know, the greatest thing ever. I never played it. It's like, you never played it? Well, I wasn't a D&D fan. I just assumed like, oh yeah, that's for somebody else. Like I've got the games that I enjoy that I play. I was playing a lot of Star Wars games, a lot of FPS games. It's like, oh, a turn-based RPG based on some lore that I'm not familiar with. It's okay. But then Knights of the Old Republic, I mean, I've probably experienced that game more watching the TheStrangeBus streams than I ever did playing it. Like, I don't think I ever actually sat down and played it. I kind of want to. I mean, I always tell myself, oh, I don't have time for RPGs. Like, they're too, like, RPG video games. Like, they take too long. Like, you can have one game that you'd play for, like, months and months and then done. And I need a break and I just need to play some arcade games. But yeah, and then Professor Dungeon Craft had a good video talking about like things to do as a GM, which I thought some of it was applicable to HeroQuest. So it's a good video to check out. Again, don't agree with him on everything, but he makes a lot of good points. Um, and we talked about GenCon, how we're still waiting for things to get posted. We're still waiting for the 18th when the events go live. A lot of official stuff has not been posted yet. And then we talked about the disappointment that is the First Light dice. How they just are not what they're all cracked up to be. So let me just kind of remind people who missed this. I know you can watch it on the replay, but I still want to show you because it's kind of a short show today. StrangeBus isn't here with me. Okay, so on the right, we've got the presentation, you know, the burger commercial. On the left, we've got the reality via Facebook. not so good, right? Not so impressive anymore. So yeah, I just decided. I mean, there was almost no chance I was going to buy these, and now there's definitely no chance. I If you gave me these as a gift, I wouldn't turn it down. But as far as like rushing out to buy these, no, definitely not pre-order. For $15, no way, no. If I went to Gen Con and these were the giveaway dice, sure, I'd take a handful back home. But I wouldn't buy these. And yet, the funny thing is, the ones on the right in that tin in that picture, if that's what they really looked like in person, and they were like reasonably priced, and they weren't a limited edition product, I'd get them because I think that's a great improvement over the ones that they released with Rise of the Dread Moon or with Jungles of Delthrak. Now again, if I'm at Gen Con and I'm buying a new product, and they just give me those for free, like I'm not going to object. I'm not going to throw them in the trash. Like I'll take them. I mean, if I thought they were really horrible, I'd give them away to a good home. But I mean, even the Mountain Dew dice, the piss dice, like I still have a couple of those. I need to mail those out because I promised people. I'm so sorry. Man, I say that I keep forgetting. There's a couple people still that I said I was going to mail dice to. I still gotta. So now that I've found the ones that I thought were gone, like I thought I had lost them, like I can actually mail those out. So anyway, to whoever you are, sorry about that. I'll try to get on it. Now there's people selling bootlegs of them, so maybe you've already done that, or maybe you've already gone to a friendly local game shop and you were lucky enough to get one of those 3 packs. But yeah, so I wouldn't throw these away. I wouldn't turn them down, but I'm not going to go out and buy them. But the ones on the right, yeah, I would have bought those. I would have bought them if I knew it was just a regular retail product. Which again, I've said it before. What would be so wrong with walking into Target or Walmart or Best Buy or whatever and seeing HeroQuest, First Light, and the colorful dice of the month or whatever they are. Oh, they're purple this time. Well, maybe I'll wait until they're blue. Oh, they're blue. Okay, I'll buy them. What would be wrong with doing something like that? Like I could see as a consumer being like, okay, I got my game, got my expansion, and there's some fancy dice. Yeah, I'll get these. It'll be a gift for somebody, or it'll be for myself, rather than just making it an online exclusive that's only available for 2 months or 6 months or whatever, and then it's gone. But you can email fanroll and tell them your thoughts. Like, I want high contrast dice, and I want them to be in retail. The completionist in me wants them. Yes, I understand, Joe. I understand. I have at times tried to be a collector, and I realize I don't have the money to do that. If I'm going to collect something, it's going to be some TV show that only went for 3 seasons, or it's going to be some action figure line that only had 10 action figures, or some comic book line that only had 6 issues. It's going to be something like that, and it's usually going to be something obscure that nobody else cared about, but I cared about, and so therefore it's affordable. Because if it's something everybody wants, but it's quote unquote rare, the prices go through the roof, and you can't do it. You know. And yes, for a lot of the stuff, there's bootlegs, and it's like, you just gotta decide: do I like this because the way it looks? Is this something that I can actually like use? Actually experience it. Like I want the functionality for most of the stuff. I want to be able to play the game. I want to be able to read the book. I want to be able to experience the movie, whatever it is. And yeah, maybe eventually it's going to go on the shelf because it's too fragile, or I've seen it, I've worn it out, I've seen it too many times. But if it's just going to stay in the shrink wrap, like I don't know, I'd rather let somebody else buy that because it's just going to stay there until I'm desperate, and then I'm going to sell it. It's just not for me. It's not for me. I've decided. Like I'd rather be able to share it, either experience it myself or share it with somebody else. Like that would justify buying it for me. So yeah. Guardian Knights are almost up to what the Mythic set was going for on eBay. Wow. Well, the Mythic sets, I'm trying to think, like, what was the highest price? I want to say like $1,500 was maybe the highest I ever saw, like a Mythic HeroQuest set go for on eBay. But I mean, you also had people that were selling like multiple things. So they'd be selling like the Mythic set plus the Frozen Horror plus Mage of the Mirror plus whatever. And it would be like, $5,000 or something. Something crazy. $8,000 for every expansion, all sealed still. But yeah, the original price of the Mythic set was $150 plus shipping. So $30 shipping, a few dollars for tax. That makes Mythic a steal at $450. But the thing is, I look at it from the functional standpoint. What is the Guardian Knight? It's 2 miniatures and 12 cards. So it's really just two versions of the same character with a weapon and armor that you already have, just different artwork, and three ability cards, three skill cards. That's it. And a little lore card that tells you, the history of the Guardian Knights. And they're not even that great. I mean, they're good-looking miniatures, but are they like so awesome that you have to own it? It's like no. I mean, a knight is one of the most generic characters out there. And yes, they tried to make them kind of unique. It's like okay, they've got like fur and the shield looks like uh, the shield from the dice, and it's like okay, the helmet's off and the hair is flowing. It's like okay, well, all right, but I think the one that they released in the Rise of the Dread Moon was actually better. I mean, yeah, he's got the helmet, the face helmet, the visor's down, but it kind of looks more like a knight in shining armor. It's like, okay, that's good enough for me. Same abilities, different artwork, but anybody could buy it. You don't have to worry about it being like if you just want to play as the character, you can spend $45 or much less if you buy it on Amazon. I think you can get it for $20 now. Get Rise of the Dread Moon, you get a whole expansion and one Guardian Knight inside. I mean, but at $20 you could buy two of them, $40. Now you've got tons of specters and everything. Or you could spend hundreds or thousands just to get that one particular box. And if you look at like the Rogue, Heir of Elethorn, and the Path of the Wandering Monk, like those hero collections, like the boxes are better quality, they have better art. Like the first one they released, it was fine, but I mean, it was like it looks kind of clunky, junky, like a kind of a quick cash in compared to the others. So the quality has increased, has improved. If you compare the Mythic set to the retail versions of those particular boxes, the retail versions are better. Like there's better build quality, they look nicer, they're more durable. They've got corrections. The dice in the Mythic set look like crap compared to the one in the retail set. Like they really do. So kudos to Avalon Hill and their bosses at Hasbro for allowing that improvement. But yeah, people are buying the Mythic set, and it's like there's less and less reasons to get it. Like eventually, it's just going to come down to the only reason to buy this is because it was rare. That's it. That's the only reason. Not because of the content, not because of the build quality. And I think that's how it should be. Like let people collect stuff that they want to collect. But if you just want the content, you're going to be fine. You don't have to have FOMO about it. And all that stuff that Carmine said when he was with the company, Chris Nato, about how, man, these scalpers are going to be pissed. Yeah. And the other thing I've noticed, I know, not to get back on the tariffs again, sorry, keep going back to that. But despite all the talk, nevertheless, the fact is, for right now at least, this is like the best time to buy these board games. I mean, if you can afford them, of course, because they've slashed the prices and there's a lot of discounts, a lot of bargains out there. And I think personally the availability of the new Avalon Hill HeroQuest stuff has just blown up and destroyed a lot of these scalper things. I mean, yes, there's people that are still trying to sell Guardian Knights really expensive, but it's like I think more people are realizing like if you just want the Guardian Knights, you don't have to buy those. If you want the mythic stuff, you don't have to buy those. Even like the Frozen Horror and stuff and Mage of the Mirror from the classic era, like people realize, oh, I could spend a few $100s on the classic version, or I could buy the modern version brand new for like less than $40. Which one am I going to do? And so I think a lot of these sellers realize they can't just sell it for whatever price they want. They can't just claim a huge price. Like maybe they start there, but then they have to knock it down because not as many people care. So I think it's great. Rogue getting close to $100 too. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen the Rogue uh, either get a second print run or come out in some other way. Like I really thought. I mean, the Guardian Knight was obviously huge. The Monk has been huge, but the Rogue just hasn't caught on as much, apparently. And still, I'm holding on to hope with what Patrick O'Rourke was saying, which is that, I mean, if worst case scenario, they don't make any more Rogues. So in some future expansion, they just shove the a version of the Rogue in there so that people who want it can still buy it. So maybe it'll be in Wizards of Morcar. Probably not Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. I'm sure they would have said something by now, but I mean, who knows? They could. They could do something like that. Joe says, "Oh, sorry, I'm missing some comments." 46 and 2 ahead of me says Rogue is so fun to play. I agree. I played with him a little bit. Like nobody was choosing the Rogue, and so I had my chance finally to play as a hero because usually I'm Zargon, and I played as the Rogue, and I'm like, yeah, he is kind of fun. Like he doesn't seem like he can do much, but actually he gets like all these like bonus attacks basically, and he can just like move past monsters and like flank them and stuff. He's not very strong, but he gets a lot of like bonus attacks and attacks of opportunity. So if you play him well, you can do pretty well right out at the start. Um, yeah, so you can definitely be fun. Joe says, and I had two of the Rogue and gave away my painted set and the yield in mini exchange. Good for you. Yeah, I want to participate in that one of these times. I'm building up my skills as a painter, and I think maybe I could give a meaningful contribution one of these times. So yield in, of course, is the fan forum from back in the day, which is still around, and it has I think they call it the Christmas miniature HeroQuest exchange or the holiday exchange, something like that. But they come up with some lists, and it's like you paint something and you mail it to somebody else on the list, and somebody else mails you something, and then at the end everybody opens it and posts pictures, and it's like really cool. And so people, use classic stuff, or they do 3D printed stuff, or they make stuff out of paper. It's a really creative thing, and it's just a little fun community building exercise. Uh, sounds like I need you as a friend, Joe Kosher. Yeah, it's like get your mom to make stovetop, invite me over. Yeah. Well, I have a bunch of because at the time I thought, well, this is my chance. I don't know what else they're going to release. I want to have some mercenaries. So I bought a bunch of Guardian Knights. So I mean, I've had them and used them as mercenaries or NPCs or whatever. But I mean, I didn't have to do that. I could have just given away the boxes. I could have been like Amalgamash and had like giveaways. That's a cool way to do it too. You buy extra of something or you don't want it anymore, and you have a contest, give it away, have a raffle, something like that. Or give it to a good home. Be like those guys on Board Game Geek, who had in the geek market, where yeah, you could sell it on eBay to just some random person, or you could just find another hardcore gamer. It's like someone who's going to appreciate it. Sell it to them. Maybe you won't get the best, return on your money, but I mean, a lot of these people are just gonna like, they'll buy it from you and then they'll just flip it and just sell it for twice that much to some unsuspecting FOMO person. It's like, you know, it's just a cooler way to do things. So yeah, I encourage that. I think that's great. Well, I think I'm pretty much getting to the end here for the Rantcast. Rantcast. Don't have a whole lot of other things. And of course, watch. Like, I'll sign off, and then, the next day there'll be some big story. We're still waiting. We're still waiting on GenCon. We're still waiting on what Hasbro does next. Like, are they going to get Joe Manganiello? Joe Manganiello. You're going to get Joe Manganiello on some other TV show and get him to say some more things about Crypt of Perpetual Darkness? Are we going to get some Wizards of Morcar drops? For all we know, they're just going to be tight-lipped until Gen Con, and we just won't know anything till then. But I appreciate the fact that people are sharing the thing about the dice because, again, like, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known that they look like this. I would have just assumed that, yeah, that what we're seeing is what we're getting. So don't believe your lying eyes, apparently. 46 and 2 ahead of me says 5 minutes after you log off, Joel will announce Magic Mike 3 where they dance in a HeroQuest game night. Dang. Yep, could be. Don't forget UK Game Expo. Well, that's the thing. We've got people in the UK. We've got people everywhere. It's like some conspiracy. No, there's definitely we have the thing I love about our community is we've got, I mean, just like back in the day, HeroQuest fans on, like, maybe not every continent, but there's definitely people from all parts of Europe. And I love it when they bring their perspective in and they report. It's like somebody's going to be at that convention and somebody's going to post pictures. Somebody's going to look at the booklet. Sorry, Doug. Somebody is going to, leak something out that we can talk about and pick apart and wonder about. So yeah, the UK Game Expo, yeah, for all we know, they're going to blow it wide open, and that would be awesome. And then we'll just have that time to wait till we can actually play it. Because I've already played Joe Manganiello's expansion. But still, it would be cool to see the foil cards and the metallic dragon and whatever else might be in there that we don't know about yet. The Italians got some problems with First Light pre-orders. Bohemius. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Tell me more about that. I know that in the U.S., First Light has been out for quite a while. It was originally a pre-order at Target, which, I mean, that I learned something. It's like Target does pre-orders. Like, I didn't know. But now you can just walk in and buy it. And we haven't seen any price changes. But Italy, I think Italy. It was Italy or Spain, but one of those two countries was like the last one to get for First Light. So we're still waiting on Italy getting First Light. Okay, Bohemia says they originally tell them November, then when they open, pre-order was June. Oh, okay. So next month. Now they send a letter moved back to October. Dang. Well, that's a long time to wait. I wonder if that has to do with the tariffs. Are they like thinking, okay, it'll be calmed down by then, or because I'm sure the translation doesn't take that long. Although we have seen in the past they've made mistakes. I can't remember if it was the Italian version or the Spanish version, but one of them, like with the Mythic set, I think they had to like reseal the boxes because they translated the thing incorrectly. They put chaos. They wrote chaos instead of dread, and so they had to like unseal the boxes, print the thing out again, put it back in, reseal it. And so people would buy it, and then you'd see where like they pulled the tape off and they put the tape back on. Oh, and in Spain they mistranslated several of the cards, and so they released like new cards and just like mailed them to people. And so it's like you had the mistranslated card, and then you had like the improved card, and still there were some questions. Does tariffs touch prices for Europe? Well, oh yeah, okay. Sorry guys. Yeah, I don't want to go back over it all again, but I know that if you follow the news and it's like, can you trust what you're reading? Um, several of the tariffs were announced like, oh, this tariff is going to be this is going to be this is going to be this, and then people freaked out, and then it was like, oh, just kidding, we made a deal, and so like some of the tariffs just kind of went away or they changed to like not what they were going to be originally. So like the countries negotiated and they backed off. The U.S. backed off. So there are some European tariffs, I think, but the one that everybody was worried about was China. Between China and the U.S., it was like, oh, that's the one that's going to screw everything up for the board game industry. And the most recent thing was, oh, okay, there's going to be a 90-day pause. Okay, so the problem is not solved, but at least there's a reprieve. So what are these companies going to do in the meantime? Well, that remains to be seen. But people who are looking on the bright side were saying, well, okay, this probably means they're going to figure it out and it's not going to be as bad as we thought. Even though some companies were saying, cancel, close, can't do it anymore, like before this news broke. Does tariffs touch prices for Europe? Yeah, not sure. The answer is I'm not sure. But I was just wondering if the reason for the delays had anything to do with that or not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm ignorant of that. Okay. 46 and 2 ahead of me says they need to outsource the translations to the community. So many Italian, Spanish, German HeroQuest fans. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Fans are doing a lot of times, from what I hear, better translations than the official ones. Like the official ones, they're like understaffed or they're using AI or they just, yeah, it's the errors that come out are like funny or stupid or it's like, come on, you can do better than that. I mean, let's face it. If you look back in the classic era, you've got classic translations of this stuff. Now you can't use the old translations necessarily because yeah, they still talk about chaos and the Warhammer world and everything. So you still got to like change stuff. But yeah, fans have done all kinds of like work for free, so they could learn something from those people. Hire them. I believe tariffs are involved, says Bohemius, but it's for a strategy on the up and downs. Invest in the right moment in shipping. Yeah, if you're a consumer, you just got to be smart about it. You just got to, I mean, obviously, you got to buy the things that are essential first. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. But when you're going in for your board game fix, yeah, do you buy it now when it's cheap? Yes. Or do you wait and see if the prices are going to go up? Or do you embrace FOMO and go, oh man, I got to buy all those pre order things before the price goes up? Like, I calculated one time how much it would cost if I bought all of the HeroScape boxes that would add up to what the original HasLab HeroScape was going to be, and it was like over $500 for unpainted, and it was like over $800 for painted, I think. I could be getting those numbers wrong. Let's say $500 to $600 for unpainted, and like $700 to $800 for painted. And it was like, okay, the original was going to be $250 for unpainted. It's like, nope. If I was a super fan of HeroScape, I would find a way. I would find a way to make it work. But the reality is, I mean, I'll just buy a couple of HeroScape things, the ones that I want to use to play with, and that'll be it. And that's fine. I mean, for HeroQuest, so far I bought all the stuff they've released, except for the fancy dice. Like, I didn't buy the Jungles of Delthrek dice. I'm not buying these First Light dice. Um, Otherwise, I bought everything that they've released, including the Guardian Knight, which, I don't know, looking back, if I had known it was really going to be that limited, I probably wouldn't have bought it at all. I would have just waited. and just said, well, fine, I'll just do without. And oh, they released it in Rise of the Dread Moon. Great. So now I have it. Like, I don't want to support the FOMO business model. That's me. That's me personally. That's my choice. Yeah. Well, again, not getting into politics, but a lot of people were saying, oh, these tariffs, it's just a bluff. It's just you freak everybody out and then you make a deal. But then the question is like saying, oh, is the deal better or is it worse? Or what about the people that get screwed over in the meantime? Like that's not cool. And I I don't get into all that because I'm too ignorant on the subject. Somebody's gonna, school me on it. I just know that for now at least, we're not noticing it, the changes. And that maybe because stuff is like there's a supply of things that are out there already. But it seems like these companies, at least Hasbro, is trying to get rid of their board games. They're trying to sell the stuff off fast. So like the prices are going down. Maybe not on Hasbro Pulse, but on like Amazon, brand new HeroQuest stuff is like cheap. It's like cheaper than it's been in a long time. Same with the HeroScape stuff. Now, the HeroScape stuff hasn't gone down as much, but there's definitely some bargains out there. So me personally, I'd be like, if you were waiting, just buy the stuff now. Like, I don't know about the pre-orders though, because again, I'm not a guy who likes to pre-order stuff. But if you like that, maybe think about it. I mean, it might be more expensive in 2 months. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of what StrangeBus was saying with the Nvidia cards. Like he was saying, like the prices are absurd and they're just going to get worse. So just don't buy them. Like, just don't buy them right now. But because the whole vote with your wallet thing, like you are sending a message. Like if you buy the thing when it's at its highest price, that's sending a message to the company. Whereas if you wait until it's lower and you buy it, that's also sending a message. I mean, they may make a good response to it or a bad response, but if they have, the freedom to do that, but you are sending a message. So think about that too. Like when you buy something, you're saying, I want more of this. I want you to make more of this. You're acknowledging there's a demand. I mean, if you buy it used, okay, maybe not, because the company doesn't get paid for that. They were already paid for the initial sale. But it does show that there's a demand for this. So if people are buying bootleg dice, they might start to think, okay, we either need to shut these guys down or we need to start making a product that's, better than what they're putting out. Because people obviously want something like this. Like you could imagine the the thinking in the marketing department. Bohemius again. Well, what about the Beware Alligators video that they teased? When are they going to release it? Sounds like they don't know how to hype people at the right timing. Well, this is making me think of a story in the Street Fighter mythos and community. There was an old uh, April Fool's Day prank where they talked about Sheng Long because people always wondered who the heck is Sheng Long. When Ryu defeats you in the game, he defeats you and he says you must defeat Sheng Long to stand a chance. And what it really was referring to was the Dragon Punch. But the rumor and then the April Fool's prank was that they doctored a photo that showed like this old guy that jumps into combat and it's like, oh, it's Ken and Ryu's master. And his name is Sheng Long and he's like stronger and he's a secret character that you have to fight. And so people were like super pumped about it and then it's like, April Fools, gotcha. Was it GamePro that did that or was it I think it might have been GamePro. But anyway, yeah, it was like this legendary thing. Well, if you look at Street Fighter now, Sheng Long is a character, I believe, that you can actually play as. But I mean, over time, it's like the joke, the spoof, the myth becomes real. I think he is, or is it some other character like Gauki Long or something? But anyway, yeah, it's like eventually, people make jokes about the boot tile, and finally they put the boot tile in the game, like again. So maybe there is no alligator swamp expansion. Or maybe there is, and they're just waiting for the right moment to release it, teasing us. Yeah, we can definitely pick those apart. But I miss that game that they would play with us, that meta marketing game of teasing us. A prank. This was not a prank. Yeah, so there could be other things in the works. That long rumored swamp aquatic abomination inspired expansion pack could be a real thing, could still be coming out, and we might find out about it at some point in the next 6 months. For all we know, we'll be playing it at Gen Con. Maybe Wizards of Morcar won't come out this year. Maybe it'll come out next year. But surely, and don't call me surely they have other plans besides these few snippets that we're talking about. I mean, it's like Terminator 2, we're going into uncharted territory, living each day because the future's not set. I miss N. Carmine's cryptic hints and clues about upcoming releases. Yeah, I really hope that man is going to be at Gen Con. Like, I'm going to go over to the Topps booth and see if he's there. Because first, I want to give him a free T-shirt, and second, I just want to see how he's doing. Like, I hope he's doing well. Yeah, he did a great job. I mean, I know when you're in business, like, you move on. One job is over and you go to the next one. Like, but he really seemed to like what he did. He was there a long time, and we had a great rapport as far as like him talking to the community, like answering our questions, but also like, yeah, stringing us along, kind of like teasing us sometimes, sometimes throwing us off the scent and then bringing us back with those clues and hints. Yeah, it'd be really cool to just see him again if he has time. I mean, I'm sure he's got to be slinging baseball cards or something else, But if he's there, I'd love to say hi. Yeah, Joe, if you're gonna be there, that that's the thing. We should go on like a scavenger hunt and see to find him. I know that I'm pretty sure he said last year he wasn't gonna be there, so I didn't even bother. Um, but yeah, it's Tops, which is now owned by Fanatics, and they do like a lot of sports stuff. So I think they've got like the starting lineup, they still sell those sports action figures, and then they've got the baseball cards, of course. It's not just the baseball card, other sports cards, but it's like stuff that I'm not interested in anymore. Like when I was a kid, yes, I had all kinds of sports cards. Not like these big collectors, but it was just like, everybody had some. So it's like, oh yeah, these are the sports cards I've got. You know, your favorite sports star. But yeah, it'd just be cool to see what he's doing these days. Get a picture. Yeah, if we're there, I mean, Joe Kozer, Rob Champ, whoever else, Sika Shem, we could try to find him. They do a Battlefield card game or something. Oh, okay. Oh, Battlefield, like the video game, like there's a card game version of it. Like, listen, I don't know all the products they put out, so if they have something that's more along, my interests, I'd check it out. Yeah, football cards. Yep, football, basketball, hockey. Yep. You got like a Boston accent. Football cads. Football cads when I was a kid. Yeah. Sorry, I've lost those viewers now. Didn't mean to make fun of your accent. Dialect. You can make fun of mine all you want. Yeah. So I think we're just chit chatting now. I think we've got through our main topics. Yeah. Again, if StrangeBus was here, we'd probably go another hour. But yeah, if there's nothing else news wise, I think we're just kind of spinning our wheels here. We're just kind of waiting. But yeah, I would say as a consumer, try to look on the bright side. I mean, obviously, if your job is on the chopping block, that sucks. I hope you find something better soon. But if you're just a regular consumer and it's just a matter of, oh, this is inconvenient, well, there's other options. There's old games you can go back to. There's right now there's some bargains on board games, and a lot of these franchises. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like somebody else will pick it up. Somebody else will do it. If there's a demand, it can happen, and you can still get together with your friends and do other stuff. Oh, well, yeah, the other thing is the sports betting. So since sports betting is legal now, I think Fanatics is involved in that too. Like there's some kind of, I don't know if it's like fantasy football or it's just sports betting like with an app or something, but yeah, they do that too. So I'm not interested in that at all. But when we had our gambling episode, we talked about casinos and stuff. That's a whole nother topic. But yeah, if that's your thing, I mean, they do that too. They have some division that does it. In a holding pattern, the life of a HeroQuest fan. Well, but see, I don't think that's the full story, though. We don't just wait for the company to do stuff. We make it happen ourselves. We use our imagination and we just do it. We make the cards, we make the models, we write the quests. And if they catch up and release something cool, okay, great. And then we riff on that and we make our own thing. So I've said it a million times. Like if modern HeroQuest were to go away, it would be a shame. I'd be sad. I'd be disappointed. The community would be smaller, but we would survive because we have that memory and that know-how and those resources, and we have the old stuff, and we can just keep on just remixing and homebrewing stuff like we always did. Yeah. Joe says, I had this game called NFL Pro Draft. Not sure what year, but I wish I had the rookie cards now. Would be worth some money. I'll have to look it up now. So, what I always hear from people back in the day, so I guess my parents' generation, when like the first baseball cards, like collecting became a thing. Because that was like, it was like comic books and baseball cards. Like people treated their stuff like crap. They just like broke it and, it was ephemera. You threw it away. Like this isn't worth anything. But then, yeah, then people got nostalgic about it and it was like, oh, this stuff is rare. And then the collecting just kind of exploded there. I mean, people always collected stamps and coins, but yeah, it's just cardboard from when you were a kid. Um, the story I always hear is they put the baseball cards in the spokes of their bikes. Yeah, yes, exactly, Rob. And I'm just like, what would that even be? It's like I'd have to get some just like index cards and see like what. I mean, it bounces around, or yeah, put in the bike spokes for the motorbike sound. So it's just the sound of them like. So it's not the cards like bouncing around inside the metal. It's just like them flipping around because the wheels are turning. 1974. Yeah. So yeah, I just do it with some index cards. I wouldn't do it with baseball cards. When I was a kid, I remember garbage pail kids were a thing. And I'm trying to think if those were actually cards or were those stickers. But I remember like at recess, people would have them. They'd be like, "Oh, look what I got!" "Oh, it's so gross, so weird." And people would trade them. And I think eventually they like banned them from the school because they're like, "Ah, this is too much. This is over the top." It was all like gross out humor, like kids eating boogers and like poopy diapers and people's heads like exploding because they watch too much TV, stuff like that. Flesh melting. Yeah, it was like Garbage Pail Kids, and I think there were other ones. There was like dinosaurs. Oh, Mars Attacks was one. But see, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Other people have memories of that. But yeah, it was like baseball cards were the first thing, and then other sports cards, basketball, hockey, football. Okay, 46 and 2 ahead of me says they were sticker cards. You could peel them off or leave them on the card. Oh, yeah. Rob the Slop. Uh, yeah, that's right. Well, I remember they talked about bubblegum cards. So you like rip open the pack and you'd have like a piece of like crappy bubblegum. And then you get the card. So it was like that was the original blind buy, I think, because later then we got Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, where you get the foil package, you don't know what's inside, you rip it open, oh, it's a card that I've already got 5 copies of. That sucks. Or oh, it's a rare one. This is really good. Magic the Gathering, the other one. But yeah, it's like back in the day, people would buy these packs and you'd hope that it was something rare. But yeah, originally it's just okay, you're a kid, you like sports and you like to chew bubble gum, and you could just imagine, oh yeah, I got this card, and you don't think much of it. But then over time, it's like it becomes an obsession and a strong marketing gimmick. The funny thing is, like, if you go to these places like Make Playing Cards, you can actually, I guess if you were making a product, like you could make, like I can make HeroQuest fans cards and put them in foil packs, and you buy them and rip them open to see if it was the card that you wanted. But you could do it for yourself too. Like you could take your own cards and you could seal them inside these packages, just to have the fun of ripping them open to be surprised. you know, I had several sets of Garbage Pail Kids. Loved Garbage Pail Kids. The movie was great too. So I've never seen the Garbage Pail Kids movie. I heard it was one of like the worst franchise movies ever, and that it destroyed the franchise. Like they lost so much money making it. But I suppose it's probably got a cult following now. The whole thing about Garbage Pail Kids is before Tickle Me Elmo, Turbo Man. Before Tickle Me Elmo, it was like the must-have toy was the Cabbage Patch Kid, and there were these dolls, these baby dolls, that they were kind of cute, I guess. They're kind of weird looking too. I guess there was Troll Dolls too before that, or Kewpie Dolls, and then Troll Dolls, and then. But anyway, they had these different toys that like they were fad toys, like they were super popular, and then they just went away. But Cabbage Patch Kids were they became collector's items. People like fought over them. They were like in demand. And so the Garbage Pail Kids were like a spoof, but yeah, they were sticker cards, like you say, and they were like puns and like usually just is inspired by some movie or some comic book character. And yeah, they had kind of like a gross out humor factor. The ultra rare Ribby card. Beanie Babies. Yep. Yep. Beanie Baby craziness. Yeah, you get these various fad toys, and it's like, I mean, it was spoofed in Jingle All the Way, of course, as Turbo Man, and they actually did make a Turbo Man doll after a while. But it was like, yeah, adults would fight over them too, either to get them for their kid or because they thought, oh, I can sell this for a lot because it's so in demand. I hate that stuff, that FOMO stuff. I mean, you get it with every Nintendo console. They don't make enough. They don't stock it well enough, and people fight over it and sell it for absurd prices, and people sell like empty boxes and just all this nonsense. Bootlegs. We just never learn. Let's do it. Puntable Prospector foiled. The boot ultra rare. Triple shield wrestling move. Yeah, making a spoof deck of just like all the inside jokes that we have in our community would be fun. Bear puns. Joe. The demand for the Cabbage Patch dolls was insane the Christmas that they came out. Ended up way more in demand than what the manufacturer thought. And see, the thing was, like, I'm trying to think, because they had lots of Cabbage Patch characters, if I remember correctly. But it was like, it was a baby doll. So, as a boy, I was like, not that interested. Um, I thought it was more marketed to girls, but could have been that there were other characters. I mean, they sold dolls to boys too. I mean, not just action figures. Like, didn't see you playing with your dolls, sir. But I mean, like My Buddy, I remember that, and like My Pet Monster. So they had dolls that were for boys. Um, My Buddy, and that was where Child's Play came from. The horror movies were inspired by My Buddy, because there was My Buddy, and there was the girl version was Kid Sister. Kid Sister, Kid Sister. My buddy and me. Yep. Those were the 80s, man. Rob says, I found my Cabbage Patch doll for Christmas and took it without permission. My mom blamed the sitter, ended up in a fist fight with the sitter. Sorry, Mom. Forgot about kid sister. Teddy Ruxpin. See, I was like, man, it's like 3, 2, 1. Somebody's going to mention that. Teddy Ruxpin was a teddy bear, but he had a tape player built inside of him. So you put the tape in, and he would like move his mouth to the tapes, which was like, wow, that's so cool. We didn't have Teddy Ruxpin, but we had Casey. Casey was, and it wasn't mine, it was my brother's, but he was this robot. And so when you put the tapes inside the robot, his face was just like an LCD, not LED, but LCD display. And so like his eyes would look around and his mouth would move to the tape. And so there were tapes that were designed for him, like he's telling the story or whatever. But you could also put like any music tape in there and just see like how well would he mouth the words to the song, the rock song or whatever it was. Yeah, a lot of those toys were fun. Yeah, Pound Puppies, I remember those. I think those were boys and girls would collect those. Pound Puppies. They had the big sad eyes, stuffed dogs. This creepy caterpillar friend. Oh, what was it called? I don't remember if it was called the glowworm, but it was like this anthropomorphic caterpillar who was dressed in like pajamas, and you would squeeze him and he would light up. Did they call him Glomer or the glowworm or something like that? Yeah, the Care Bears, of course. Care Bears were a big collectible. Mad Balls. Yeah, I had one Mad Ball. I think it was like a mummy or something. It was like a tennis ball. They were like foam balls, like like footballs and tennis balls and stuff, but they were like meant to look like a face, like a caricature monster face. And I wouldn't really want to throw it around that much because it would just get like destroyed. But it was like they were painted. It was like a Halloween creature. Glowworm. The Care Bear stare. Yeah, the Care Bear movies, if you ever watch them, they're like over the top. Yeah, I think the Care Bears were. It was seen as like for younger kids, but still it was like, yeah, boys and girls. It wasn't just marketed to one or the other. Bright lights or Light Bright. They still sell those Light Bright boards. It's just like a device that just like puts light through, and they're not even LEDs. They're just like pieces of colored plastic that are transparent. And you just put it in there, and so like okay, you can put the little pins in to form a design, like a smiley face or something, and you turn off the lights, and oh, it glows in that era. Teddy's friend was named Grubby. Oh yeah, Grubby. Was there a Teddy Ruxpin TV movie or something? I almost feel like there was. I'm having some like vague flashback to some like TV special. Maybe it was just a commercial, but it was just like, yeah, some of these characters had like adventures. Light bright, light bright, light bright. Turn on the magic of shiny light, something like that. I got an Etch a Sketch for one of my nephews, and I remember the Etch a Sketch animator. I was like, whoa. So instead of it just being, the glass with the graphite and the two knobs that would like scratch a design in the glass, and then you could flip it upside down, shake it, and it would just kind of like reset itself, and then you could just do another design. The Etch a Sketch animator was actually, again, an LCD screen, and you had these pixels on the screen. So you would turn the two knobs, one's horizontal, one's vertical, and you could draw the design with the pixels, and you could save it, and you could do frames of animation. Not very many. I want to say it was like 4 frames or something. But then you could just like have it just repeat over and over. So like you do Mario running or something, and it wouldn't save it forever. The batteries would die and then it would or get erased. But it was like the Etch a Sketch animator, and the Etch a Sketch animator 2000 was even more advanced, supposedly. Yeah, people get serious with the Etch a Sketch. Well, and when I bought it, it said like it contains glass. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, hopefully you don't like slam it over your brother's head, break it. But I mean, we never broke our Etch a Sketch. I think I did see once there was an Etch a Sketch where like you're playing with it and then you look at your hand and you've got like graphite all over your hand. It's like, oh, so it's leaking, it's broken. But yeah, I think that would be like, you go to the playroom at the local library and like every kid has like thrown it into the toy chest, when they leave, and then finally it just, gets a crack in it or something. Some people make great art. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see when you have like limitations placed on you like that, to just see, well, what could I do with it? All I've got is MS Paint. Let's see what I could do with it, or what I could do with an Etch a Sketch. I think when I was a kid, I played with it, but I mean, I could just make squares. It's like, okay, I made all these squares, and now it's time to do something else. I didn't stick with it. Like, if that was my only toy, if that was my only art, yeah, maybe I would have figured out a way to do it. But yeah, it's still available. You can still try to figure it out. Try to make something really cool with it. Yep. All right, guys. Well, I think we've definitely taken a trip down memory lane. I can make one hell of a straight line, brother. That's right. Yep. And it made a cool sound when you twisted the knobs. It had this kind of interesting little ratchety sound that I enjoyed. So when I hear that sound again, it's nostalgic for remembering when you were a kid and you play with it, or you're watching the kid and the kid's playing with it. Same thing. Yep. All right. Put your specters and Prophecy of Telor and Spirit Queen's Torment monsters in your Light Bright. There we go. HeroQuest Light Bright. Make it happen, Hasbro. Yep. Just put a little uh, thing at the bottom of the miniature, so it'll just like hook on, and then it just lights it up. Well, I mean, I did that with my, not with a Light Bright, but I used some of the Gundam lights and balloon lights to light up my figures. At first, I thought it was a silly idea, but I thought it looked cool on camera, so I did it, and it seems to have been a hit. And I use those LEDs for like spell effects and HeroQuest. Again, on camera it looks fine. I think it looks better in person, but it has a certain unique effect on the stream. All right, well, we've gone through some 80s memories and some 90s memories. And that's the RantCast. So thanks for joining us on this episode of the RantCast. Again, a lot more informal. Jason J, Joe Kozier, 46 and 2 ahead of me, Bohemius, Rob Champ. Anybody else that stopped by, thank you for checking us out. Thanks for the support. Yeah, see ya. Yep. And the plan next weekend, so the TheStrangeBus is doing his own thing. We'll see him when he gets back. But the plan is probably this Friday and Saturday will just be normal. But if there's any change to my streaming schedule on HeroQuest fans, I'll try to let you know ahead of time so you know what to expect. But probably we're going to do Friday our Against the Ogre Horde, Saturday Jungles of Delthrak, next Tuesday RantCast. The last weekend in May, probably I'll be doing something completely different. So I'm going to be taking a weekend off. Some family stuff we got to do. So, but again, I'll try to update people so you kind of know what's going on. Yeah. So that's that. So stare at those disappointing dice. Hey, glad to do it. Like I said, I wasn't in the mood originally, but I thought of Patrick Stewart in David Lynch's Dune, and he convinced me that I should do it. Now guard yourself for true. Do seem to get the mood. All right, so anybody at this time of night we can raid? We're gonna doubt. Oh no, actually we do have quite a few people. So we got Vine Sauce playing RimWorld, Bengus. Oh man, I know we raid Vine Sauce a lot, but Bengus is doing Warhammer Vermintide 2. It's hard to pass it up. Oh, and then we got Wicked Minis doing miniatures and models. Dang. Okay. So do we want to do painting, or do we want to do Vermintide, or do we want to do Vine Sauce? Bengus. I mean, it's tough to say no to that. Games Done Quick is doing Legend of Zelda. Cosmic Cam is doing The Precinct. Cop game. So we thinking Vermintide, guys? I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm getting tired. I need to get some sleep. All right. Let's, if there's no objections, let's go ahead and give Bengus a raid. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. TheRantCast. All right, Joe, take it easy. Everybody, stay for the raid if you like.